wild to think that a single tiny peppercorn could be worth a fortune. But we're talking enough to launch entire fleets of ships, to spark wars, and to literally redraw the map of the world. So let's get into it. This is the incredible story of how Europe's obsession with spices kicked off a global revolution. And I'm not exaggerating here. It's totally true. Back in the Middle Ages, spices like pepper, cloves, and nutmeg, they were often worth more than their weight in gold. I mean, a single sack of pepper could literally buy you a house or even your freedom. They were the ultimate luxury good, not just for flavor, but for medicine, for preserving food, for everything. Okay, so why? What made these spices so unbelievably expensive? Well, the journey from a spice farm in Asia to, say, a kitchen in London was an absolutely epic trek. It crossed thousands of miles and passed through the hands of countless middlemen. Just look at this supply chain. It wasn't one simple trip. A peppercorn grown in Indonesia would first be sold to Arab merchants who totally controlled the Indian Ocean. Then they'd sell it to Italian merchants in ports like Alexandria. By the time that one peppercorn reached a market in Europe, the price had just skyrocketed because every single person along the way added their own cut. And this is the really crucial part. You had two powerful groups basically holding the entire system hostage. The Arab traders had a complete lock on the first half of the journey, and then the Italian city-states, especially Venice and Genoa, had an iron grip on the second half. So if you were a king in, say, Portugal or Spain, you had no choice. You just had to pay their prices. There was literally no other way to get the goods. So this system, as expensive and difficult as it was, had been chugging along for centuries. It worked, kinda. But then a massive geopolitical shift was about to completely shatter it and slam the door shut between Europe and the East. You can almost see the perfect storm brewing here, can't you? For a long time, the trade routes worked. Then you get the Renaissance, which sparks this new ambition and curiosity in Europe. But the real breaking point, the big one, came in 1453. That's when the Ottoman Empire conquered Constantinople, which was the main gateway between Europe and Asia. And just like that, the entire game changed. The Ottoman Empire was now in control of all the traditional trade routes. Now, they didn't cut off trade completely, but they hit it with such heavy taxes that it became almost impossible for Europeans to make a profit. The old way of doing business was officially over. So what do you do when the front door is locked and guarded? Right? You start looking for a back door. And suddenly, European nations like Spain and Portugal had some seriously powerful reasons to find one. Number one, break the monopolies held by the Italians and Arabs. Number two, completely go around the hostile Ottoman Empire. And number three, the ultimate prize. Find a way to trade directly with the Spice Islands of the East. But this crisis didn't lead to despair. No way. Instead, it lit a fire under Europe and kicked off one of the most daring and world-changing periods in all of human history, the Age of Discovery. The race to find a new route to India was on. And it's no accident that Portugal and Spain were the ones to lead the charge. The Renaissance had created this incredible spirit of adventure. They were also on the cutting edge of technology, building better ships, developing better navigation tools, and maybe most importantly, they had ambitious rulers, like Portugal's Prince Henry the Navigator, who were willing to pour a ton of money into these incredibly risky voyages. And would you just look at the results? It happened so fast. Within just a few decades, the world map was completely turned upside down. In 1487, Diaz proves you can actually sail around Africa. Then in 92, Columbus, who's looking for a shortcut to India, literally stumbles upon an entire new hemisphere. And then the big one. In 1498, Vasco da Gama finally does it. He sails all the way from Portugal around Africa and lands in India. He found the back door. You see, Vasco da Gama's voyage wasn't just a successful trip. It was the moment the old world order crumbled and a new, truly global one started to take its place. This was it. This was the breakthrough that everyone had been dreaming of. For the very first time, a European power had a direct, all-sea connection to the spices of Asia. All those middlemen, the Venetians, the Ottomans, the Arabs, they were bypassed in an instant. A new era of global sea trade had just begun. It's honestly hard to overstate the impact. Centuries later, the economist Adam Smith looked back and said, basically, that finding the Americas and finding the sea route to India were the two most important events in all of human history up to that point. They changed everything. So now, With whole oceans and continents opening up, the two big players, Spain and Portugal, realized they were on a collision course. They had to figure out some rules for this new game fast before they ended up at war with each other over all these new discoveries. And their solution was, well, about as bold as their voyages. Just 2 years after Columbus got back, Spain and Portugal sat down and signed something called the Treaty of Tordesillas. And their goal was stunningly simple: to divide the entire non-Christian world between the two of them. I mean, check this out. They just drew a line straight down the map in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Anything to the west of that line, which turned out to be most of the Americas, was Spain's. Anything to the east, Africa, India, and what would become Brazil, belonged to Portugal. With a single stroke of a pen, they had carved up the globe and set the stage for centuries of colonial empire building. So in the end, that obsessive hunt for flavor for that tiny seed actually worked. It connected the entire planet with new sea lanes and created unimaginable wealth. But it also kicked off an age of conquest, colonization, and global conflict. It solved one huge problem, but in doing so, it unleashed a whole new set of challenges that really are still shaping our world today.